Hey folks, welcome back to another Big Bad Review with Cam of the Big Bad Beetle Bros and the Stronger Than Before Power Rangers Zeo podcast. I am coming in today with something a little bit different. This is the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Zeo Cogs 2-pack. This was graciously gifted to me by John over at Don't Ever Stop Gaming, Don't Ever Stop Collecting, Don't Ever Stop, in general, DES, over on YouTube and Twitter and wherever else you can find him. I have really missed the Lightning Collection really the entire time that it's been running. I've not jumped in on it. There's been, I think part of my apprehension has been the, what a lot of you may be aware of, the kind of mixed reviews that are coming in of the quality control issues and general problems that Hasbro has suffered. I think most of their lines have it, but since Power Rangers is a very insular, very connected community, more so than something like Star Wars or G.I. Joe, that have very large, kind of widespread collecting communities, Power Rangers, you're always kind of, one or two steps away from anybody else talking about the franchise. So with that, I had just largely avoided anything Lightning Collection related. I have Zeo Ranger 5 Red, which I will be doing a review of here soon. I've had him for a while, and just like the Zeo Cogs and other things that I get, I tend to leave it in the box and just kind of curate it on my shelf or in my collection until I have time to really mess with it and find a space for it that I like and that I feel like it is worthy of. So, with that, this is the Lightning Collection Zeo Cogs review. So, I'm going to go ahead and open this on camera for you guys. All I've done is cut the tape on the side here, so we're going to do a quick unboxing, and then we're going to dive into the review just after that. So, the box, I love this box art. They've been doing this on the Lightning Collection the whole time. Really like the kind of vector image design, showcasing the popped open cog head and the regular one, and of course the sparkly cosmic looking silver and the flat red. More silver cog on that side, red cog on this side, and then on the back you get a better image of the actual cogs themselves. This is a very minimalist approach to packaging, in my opinion. I don't know if this is partially because it's a two-pack that was a little bit more limited production than some of the others, and it was kind of more reminiscent of like the TMNT crossover figures. But these guys come with a heaping helping of accessories that I really appreciate. The red cog on here does look a little bit more pink-purple, and that may be translating on camera as well, but it is meant to be the kind of red burgundy-looking cog from the show. So, without further ado, crack this guy open. This is the first Lightning Collection figure or set that I've gotten that doesn't have an open window, which is an interesting choice, but I appreciate it nonetheless. So we're going to set the box over to the side. Actually, we're going to just set this back here for a second. And here is the set. So as you can see, two full figure cogs, one in the kind of pinkish red burgundy. It is in the figure, just like on the box, a little bit lighter, it looks like, than what the box art and kind of what the footage shows. They did do a pretty good job of getting that kind of metallic, sparkly silver design. There's almost like it's like a green, pink, and yellow, almost like an after image, like a slight print. It's not really textured, but just a slight overprinting of the silver that gives that little bit of a metallic hint. I do kind of dig that. And we've got, each of them come with identical secondary heads with the front of their faceplates popped open, which is very fun. They each come with matching accessories, so they each get one of the short batons and one of the longer spears. They each have their holding hands. They've got their kind of attacky hands and then closed fists. They have a purple kind of punching, or I guess maybe kicking blast effect, and the large blast effect that can go over their chests or back that is like them getting hit or blasted by a ranger or enemy. So that's very fun. Really excited to dig into this. They really went kind of minimalist. Everything's held in with the plastic. I know that a lot of the Hasbro, the Transformers figures have been pivoting away from plastic internal packaging, really leaning towards cardboard, which I encourage. It's great. It's more better for the environment and all that kind of stuff. So with that, I'm going to cut away and we're going to jump right into the actual review of these guys and see, knock on wood, what kind of QC problems I run into on this or not. Hopefully we don't run into any. But I will be right back, and boom. Alright, now that we got these guys out of the box, let's take a look at some of this posability and some of the details on the sculpts. So, like I was saying with the silver, they have a really nice kind of overlaid printing over the silver paint that's only kind of on parts. It's just highlighted a little bit here and there, and I really like that. I think that it's just subtle enough to stand out. The torso does have a little bit of a lighter gray silver than the arms and legs. You can just kind of tell that there's a little bit of a different paint being used there. It doesn't stand out a ton. It's not super noticeable, but it's just a little bit of a discrepancy there. And you can see kind of on the inner thighs here, there's that little bit of greenish, pinkish, discolored kind of metallic look. It's really noticeable on the chest, not featured on the back or shoulders, but it's still very cool. They've got the little silver kind of disc belt detail there. The little gold, maybe I said silver. Little gold detail here on the feet. Really nice sculpting on the arms and hands. The gloves have a really nice kind of mechanical armor look on them. They are unique hands. They're not from a putty figure or anything like that, which I was a little concerned when these first were announced that they were going to basically be putty figures, and they may be the same body mold. I'm not sure. I don't have one of the putty patrollers yet. It is on my list because I do have Finster, who I will also do a review of because he's my favorite figure I've ever owned. The head sculpts on these are absolutely beautiful. I really like the cogs. They're right there with the putties as one of my favorite all-time Power Ranger foot soldiers. They're incredibly simple, but they nail the little bit of a crest going down the top towards the V in the front, and it does even have a little bit of a seam where the faceplate pops up on the alternate head, which makes me think that there may have been at some point these were created as two different molds, and maybe it was intended for this to pop up in some way, but they went ahead and did two separate helmets. I do like the two separate head idea. I think it works a lot better. Anyways, as we get into posability, pretty typical Lightning Collection posability here. They've got this kind of wide shoulder movement here on the chest. Very clicky joints. I was actually just before this off camera, I was messing around with the joints because I'm always terrified of snapping something when I first mess with it. And especially these guys coming out of the box. The joints are very tight, very clicky, but you get a pretty good range of motion there. And 360 here. 360 on the upper bicep. Really nice and tight pin joints on the arms there. Nice clickety soft ratchet. Same on the other side, obviously. The forearm doesn't rotate, but the hand is on a replaceable peg joint, so you can swap those out pretty easily. Now, previously, when I was looking at these characters in the box, I was thinking that we had a left and right grabby hand like this guy here, and a left and right fist, and a left and right weapon holder. We don't. Each figure comes with a left and right holding hand, but then they only come with a right fist and a left grabby hand, which is fine. It's an interesting choice. I'm sure it's partially a cost-saving measure. I'd rather them each come with, I guess, a left and a right. Right, I guess I'd rather both of them come with left grabby hands and right fists, rather than you get one set of either or. This way you can have them still with matching poses and things like that. And you don't have to sacrifice one accessory to only be used by one of these two figures. So that's impressive. The torso has a nice swivel on the midsection and a very strong soft ratchet joint on the abs. Little ab crunch action. Legs can go not full splits. That's about as far as they can go. I don't want to pressure them too much. Waist does not have an independent swivel, which is fine because you get this torso swivel here, makes up for it a little bit. And then you do get legs can go up quite a bit, forward almost 90. Can't go backwards really at all without going back and out. And then you get a 360 swivel on the upper thigh. And a full double jointed knee bend with these peg joints. I know Lightning Collection is starting to do seamless peg joints. It's very cool. I don't have any of the figures that have that yet, but that's also totally fine. So, they do have full rotation on the calves, and the feet have a pivot on the bottom, and then a soft ratchet that clicks back and forward for some posing. Now, one thing I do plan on doing with these guys, because I do have shelf room for them, and I plan to pose them with Zeo Ranger Red, they have the pegs on the bottom of the feet. I think these are close to a 5mm. They might be more like a 3 or 4mm peg. But I do plan on probably 3D printing some stands for these guys that we can pose them with. Now, same posability on the red cog. And forgive me if these technically have, like, they're super cogs or something like that. I do not remember them having a different name. And I have been watching Zeo with TJ once a week for almost 6 months now, and I still just cannot remember if they have any extra names. Unlike the silver cog, the red burgundy looking cog does have the same color paint or plastic. Actually looks like this is the color of the plastic and not a paint over it on this guy all the way around. No special printing. The reds didn't have any kind of like metallic look to them, so that makes complete sense. But yes, all the same posability, and the only thing different about this guy is the main body color. Nothing else to write home about as far as that goes. These are kind of the ideal army builder figures, so it makes sense that they wouldn't have super significant differences. Now, accessories-wise, comes with these blast effects that I believe, I don't know if they're identical, but I believe at least one of the putty figure packs from Lightning Collection came with this, an extremely similar blast effect. So it kind of looks like a vest. It's got these blasts. There's no pegs or anything like that, which I appreciate. It just kind of slips over the shoulder and under the arms and sits on the front there, and you can have another character blasting at them or throwing a punch or a kick, as it were. You could, in theory, also have this on their back if you want to have them getting shot in the back. Not a very rangerly thing to do, but you never know. And then these effects can't really be used in any other way. But you could translate these over to a ranger figure or anything that has a similar base body type as the cog figures. So if you have a putty that didn't come with blast effects, something like that, then you can use them on there. I don't think they would work very well on the larger monster figures or something like Finster, just because They are fairly kind of a tight squeeze. They fit very well on this body form. So that's probably going to be mostly for the foot soldier type figures. Now, the other blast effect that it comes with is this purple blast effect. And I believe on the box, on the box here, flip this around, you can see it being used on the fist there by the silver guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this right grabby hand, pop this out. These pop out pretty easily compared to what I'm used to, which would be like Figuarts or Figmas that I used to collect. These are they're pretty easy, and it is nice to see figures that I would kind of put on par with Figma and SH Figuarts having accessories like this, and just being on the shelf for the public. Maybe you guys can hear my dog barking outside. She's not happy that I'm in here doing this. So, the blast effect just kind of like fits over the fist like that. I think it would also fit on the grabby hands and maybe even on the holding hands if you really wanted to use the fist for, I don't know, if you just didn't want to have the blast effect on there. But there you go. You can kind of slide that over. It's got a little indentation in there that is almost perfectly the fist size, and it's honestly such a tight squeeze it could do to be a little bit bigger, but it's on there enough that it will fit and you can do some fun posing. So that's very cool. I'm sure you could also probably squeeze the foot in there and get a cool little kick going. That might be even more cool for some ranger poses, but either way, very neat. I do dig it. I'm going to go ahead and... Actually, I'm going to leave that fist on there. So, the alternate heads. This is the only spot that I've noticed, I think, an ever so slight QC problem, and this is something that I can completely write off. Maybe someone else can't, but I can. There's just an ever so slight gummed up mouth paint app on this guy here. You can see just right there, there's just an ever so slight point here where it has been smudged a little bit. Really not worth complaining. For me, I know people have had worse problems come through on some of their Lightning Collection figures, so but that's the only thing that I've noticed on here other than some tight joints and stuff, which I'd always rather have a tight joint on a figure than a loose joint, so I'm just going to completely be okay with that for now. As far as replacing the heads goes, just like with the Lightning Collection figures that have unmorphed heads, human heads, or battle damaged or helmets or anything like that that have come out, head just pops right off. It's just on a little ball socket. Actually, what's nice, they do have a little bit of an extra indentation after the socket, which just provides a little bit more room for air to be let in, and you just like pop this guy on there. It is a little tricky. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but you want that. You don't want it to be loose. You don't want the head popping off. Head, like I said, is on a ball joint, so you got full 360 swivel there. It can look quite a ways up and a little bit down, but very fun. I really dig these extra heads. Really adds to the mechanical aspect of the cogs. Like I said, I think the cogs are one of my favorite foot soldiers, especially just to watch in the show. The actors who portray them really lean into the mechanical robotic walkingness in the same way that the suit actors for the putties really get into the kind of wiggly looseness in the movements. I really dig it. I appreciate the hell out of the suit actors for foot soldiers because it's really an underappreciated part of shows like this. So, the last accessories to be featured are the long and short batons. So they're just the real basic silver, same as the body of the silver cog, and a matching gold, a little bit of a lighter gold than the heads. but pretty much matches up with the gold on the rest of the figures. So you can throw that into the hand, and the easiest way is really just kind of like to squeeze it in. You can try to squeeze it in from the top, but I think the best way is to just kind of put it in between the thumb and the fingers and just click it in there. Now, because of the kind of weapons that these are versus the kind of hands that these are, the hands really look like they're molded to hold a gun, in my opinion. The way that the fingers are pivoted out, they're closer to the palm at the pinky and further away at the pointer finger, makes me think that these are more modified from the molded hand to hold a gun. Really makes it look like it's designed to have a finger on a trigger. So it doesn't fit perfectly with these weapons, but it still works. It's really not incredibly noticeable from other angles, and it fits in fine. It doesn't wobble. It's tight enough of a grip to hold the cylinder, and then when you get the bigger one, trying to escape. When you get the bigger one, it's the same thing. You can have them hold it at any section. The diameter of the cylinder doesn't change from the midsection here, where the kind of little cogs, little gears there are. It's not different. It's the same diameter all around. So just kind of squeeze the thumb out of the way a little. And with some of these guys, what you might have to do is, what I'm going to do here, is take the hand off real quick, set that guy down, and we're just going to squeeze it in to there. Try to keep it on camera a little bit for you. Okay, and like I said, because it really feels like these are molded to hold a gun, you can kind of see how it's not a perfect grasp, but it's good enough, and it doesn't look any different. There are a couple spots on here where there's like a silver paint splot right there on the black. That could be easily undone, and that actually might be silver plastic coming through the black paint now that I look at it, but totally fine, and honestly not really a problem. So you can kind of get some interesting poses with these guys. These figures are incredibly posable. That's like the big takeaway always when seeing Lightning Collection figures, is just how incredibly posable they are, and how fun they are to kind of the playability, but also just they have the pegs on the feet. There are a variety of 3D printable and also aftermarket figure stands that I think would work really well for these guys, to make them stand up and look like they're doing flying kicks or jumping or anything like that. But I really love these figures. The Lightning Collection, like I've said, has been kind of hit or miss as far as quality control, and I think, once again, knock on wood, I got lucky here and did not have a problem with these figures coming out with any weird loose joints or anything like that. No major paint apps problems, no missing accessories or doubled up accessories. It is a little odd to me that while we get we get a left and a right weapon holding hand, we only get left grabby hands and right fists, so you can't have them kind of putting their dukes up, looking like they're getting ready to spar, and you can't have them doing kind of a scary gonna get you grabby motion, which I think is a little disappointing, but it's, again, for what it is and what these are and the price point that they've been at, has been pretty reasonable. These were, I believe, part of the warehouse sale that Hasbro was doing a few weeks ago, at the time of recording. I'm actually recording the first weekend of April here, so I think these guys are probably still somewhat available, but they are probably going to be out of production here soon. So if you're wanting to grab them, I would you're going to have a better time trying to grab them online, either on Hasbro Pulse or eBay or Amazon, or a place like Big Bad Toy Store or even Toy Collectibles. I know they're mostly imports, but they do tend to get some Lightning Collection figures in. So stuff like that, I think you're just going to have a better time finding that way. Yeah, I don't know if I really have anything else. I'll come back when I do my review of Zeo Red and I crack him open and showcase kind of a comparison with them. I don't have a figure to properly compare them to size wise. I mean they're the same scale. They're basically a 4-inch. Pardon me, 4 or 5. I think I have a tape measure. Hang on. Why am I guessworking this stuff? I have a whole toolbox next to me. These are 7-inch, almost 7-inch, 6.5-inch figures. So they're basically like most of Hasbro's toys. They're in scale with Marvel Legends and the Star Wars Black Series figures. And the newer like G.I. Joe and even the Fortnite figures, I believe, are 6 to 7-inch figures as well. So you kind of translate over like a 6-inch figure is roughly a 6 foot character is how I think that's supposed to scale. Don't quote me on that. I don't know 100% sure what scale Hasbro's using on them. Unlike with the Zord Ascension Project Megazords, I know they're going with 1 to 144, like a high-grade Gundam. I don't know for certain what scale they're using for the Lightning Collection. I know it's not incredibly consistent once you get into the monsters and stuff. Characters like Guy and Snizzard have been kind of bigger or smaller than they appear on the show, and that's a little off and difficult to mess with, but also, you're translating a character that is a guy in a rubber suit into a real 3-dimensional figure that doesn't need to fit another dude inside of the character suit. So you're going to get a slightly different scale there. But yeah, I'm really happy with these guys. Again, huge thanks to John for sending these out to me. And I can't wait to get them on a nice shelf with Zeo Red, kicking one of them in the chest or something like that, because I think that's just going to be a really, really killer display to set up somewhere in here around all of my myriad of Beetleborgs stuff, which I also have some more Beetleborg stuff that I want to do some reviews of, just to kind of get my perspective on stuff. You can see I've got my Blue Beat / Blue Stingerborg 3D printed helmet over on the side that I've been slowly finally working on, even though I've had it, much like everything else, I've had it sitting around for a while and have done nothing with. So, yeah, with that, I've been Cam of the Big Bad Beetle Bros and Stronger Than Before podcast. You can find me and everything that I do over at projectlouder.net for Big Bad Beetle Bros and Stronger Than Before. You can find Big Bad Beetle Bros at Beetle Bros Pod on Twitter and Big Bad Beetle Bros Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and right here on YouTube. You can also find Stronger Than Before, a Zeo Power Rangers podcast on Facebook and Instagram. If you just search Stronger Than Before podcast, you should find us right there and then. If there's anything you guys have seen floating around any of our videos that we've done that you think I should do a review of, or anything in the Beetleborgs canon that you'd like me to talk more about, let me know. I'm not really going to be the kind of reviewer that buys new stuff just to review. Really just going to review things as they come into my possession, or things that I've had sitting around that I haven't messed with yet. So I've got a small stack off to the side of figures that I'll be reviewing in the coming weeks. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of have fun with it. But I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. I appreciate everybody who has watched the first 2 reviews and commented and subscribed and all that kind of stuff. Going to be doing more stuff like this in the future. And of course, we've got some stuff in the works with the other Beetle Bros to do a little bit more content that's more B-Fighter adjacent. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.